Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of 2 Corinthians. Today we begin looking at chapter 3. Now, as Paul begins this chapter, he's basically saying to the Corinthians, do you really need a letter of recommendation about us? Do we have to commend ourselves to you as though you didn't know us and we needed someone to write a letter of recommending for us? No. Because you do know us and we've ministered among you in the power of the Spirit. And basically he says, you yourselves are our letter of recommendation. That's what he's about to say. So notice how he says this in the first 3 verses of chapter 3. Are we beginning to commend ourselves again? Or do we need, like some people, letters of recommendation to you or from you? You yourselves are our letters, written on our hearts, known and read by everyone. You know that you are a letter from Christ, the result of our ministry, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on the tablets of human hearts. Paul is basically saying, if I need a letter of recommendation to anyone, you're it. You are our letter of recommendation. For when we came among you, we ministered the gospel of Christ in the power of the Spirit. And what has happened to you in your response to that gospel, how God has saved you and has made you his church and has grown you in him by faith through grace, all of that is all that we need for a recommendation. You are our letter of recommendation. He says this is not a letter written on a tablet of stone or written with ink on a piece of papyrus. No, this is a letter of recommendation written on human hearts, your hearts, by the very power of the Spirit of God as he has written the gospel on you. And it was a result of our ministry among you. So we don't have to commend ourselves to you. We don't have to have someone recommend us to you. We don't have to have a, quote, reference to you. No. You know us. You know the kind of ministry and the power of the Spirit we had among you. Notice he says, this ministry is by the Spirit of the living God. It's not a matter of human ingenuity or effort. It's all the power of the Spirit. You know, Paul makes it clear that when he was among them, there were signs and there were wonders. There was authentication of his ministry, his proclamation by the power of the Holy Spirit. And the very transformation, the new birth they experienced is all by the power of the Spirit. Notice he goes on to say, the confidence we have comes through Christ before God. Not that we are competent in ourselves to claim anything for ourselves, but our competence comes from God. In other words, the ministry we had among you is not based on our human abilities, that we were great orators, we were great speakers, we were persuasive with our language, nor that we were clever or skilled in how we presented the gospel to you. Oh no. It's all about the competence of the Spirit of God. The ministry we had among you was based on the power of the Spirit. So this is Paul's commendation, if you want to call it that, of himself to the Corinthians in this second letter. Just remember the ministry we had among you and how the Spirit and the power of the Holy Spirit was evident. That is the only recommendation we need. True ministry, true gospel ministry is always done in the power of the Holy Spirit. Always. One of the mistakes we sometimes make in the church, if we're not careful, is that we come to depend upon ourselves and what we can do in our own strength. But that's not where true gospel power and authority comes from. It comes from a dependence and a reliance on the Spirit of God. Only that which is done in the power of the Spirit will endure, for that is the true ministry. We must be like Paul, not counting on our own competence as if we were competent, but simply relying on the power of the Holy Spirit. Paul says our competence comes not from ourselves. Our competence comes from God, from the Spirit of the living God. Now, in tomorrow's session, he goes on with this thought that in the power of the Spirit, we've seen the establishment of a new covenant not of the letter, but of the Spirit. But we'll look at that in tomorrow's session. So join us next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the book of 2 Corinthians.